All right, let's smash the like button for your financial education and talk about something that has completely changed the game: cryptocurrency. So, what is it? Think of it as digital money. It's a type of currency that exists only online. You can't hold a physical Bitcoin in your hand like you can a dollar bill. It's secured by something called cryptography, which makes it nearly impossible to counterfeit or double spend. This is a huge deal. It means you can send money directly to another person without needing a bank to approve the transaction. It's like digital cash that you control completely. This whole world started back in 2008. A person, or maybe a group of people using the name Satoshi Nakamoto, published a paper. This paper was called Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. It was a response to the big financial crisis. People were losing trust in banks and traditional financial systems. They wanted something different, something that wasn't controlled by a single government or institution. Satoshi's idea was to create a decentralized currency, a currency for the people, by the people, without a middleman taking a cut. It was a revolutionary concept. So in January 2009, the Bitcoin network came to life. The first block of transactions, known as the Genesis block, was created. Embedded in this block was a headline from a newspaper: "The Times 03/Jan/2009 Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks." This wasn't just a random detail. It was a statement. It was a clear message about why Bitcoin was created. It was designed to be an alternative to a system that many felt had failed them. For the first few years, it was mostly used by a small group of tech enthusiasts and programmers. Now, why does any of this matter to you? Because Bitcoin introduced the world to an entirely new way of thinking about money and value. It proved that you could have a secure, global financial system without needing a central authority like a bank. This opened the floodgates for thousands of other cryptocurrencies, each with its own unique features and goals. Understanding Bitcoin's origin story is the first step to understanding the entire crypto space. It's the foundation upon which everything else has been built. And it's a story about challenging the status quo for something better. So, we know Bitcoin is digital money, but how does it work without a bank keeping track of everything? The magic behind it is a technology called blockchain. Let's break this down. Imagine a digital notebook that is shared among thousands of computers all over the world. Every time someone sends or receives crypto, a new entry or transaction is recorded in this notebook. This isn't just one person's notebook. Everyone has an identical copy. This makes it incredibly transparent and secure because everyone can see what's happening. Each page in this notebook is called a block. A block contains a list of recent transactions. Once a block is filled with transactions, it gets added to the chain of previous blocks. This creates a blockchain, a long, continuous chain of these blocks, all linked together in chronological order. Think of it like a chain of train cars. Each car is a block, and they are all connected one after another. You can't remove a car from the middle of the train without breaking the whole chain. It's the same idea with a blockchain. Here's why that's so important. Each block is cryptographically linked to the one before it. It contains a unique fingerprint or hash of the previous block's data. If someone tries to change a transaction in an old block, it would change that block's hash. This would cause a ripple effect, changing the hash of every single block that came after it. The network would immediately notice this discrepancy because their copies of the blockchain wouldn't match the altered one. The fraudulent change would be instantly rejected. This structure is what makes a blockchain immutable, which is a fancy word for unchangeable. Once a transaction is recorded on the blockchain, it's there forever. You can't delete it or alter it. This is a massive shift from traditional banking where records can be changed or even lost. Blockchain provides a permanent, verifiable record of every single transaction. It builds trust not by relying on a single company, but by relying on a transparent and secure system of mathematics and shared data. It's a ledger that is secured by the community itself. Now, not all blockchains are the same. It's important to understand the difference between public and private blockchains. Think of a public blockchain, like Bitcoin or Ethereum, as Wikipedia. Anyone in the world can view the information. Anyone can participate. You can see all the transactions that have ever happened. You can even help validate new transactions and add them to the chain if you have the right computer hardware. It's completely open and permissionless. This transparency is one of its greatest strengths. A public blockchain is designed to be decentralized. This means no single person or group has control. The rules are set in the code, and decisions are made by the community of users and developers. This makes it very resistant to censorship or manipulation. For example, no government can just decide to shut down the Bitcoin network because it runs on thousands of computers spread all across the globe. It's a system built for maximum openness and security, where trust is placed in the network itself rather than a central entity. On the other hand, you have private blockchains. Think of a private blockchain like your company's internal server or intranet. It's a closed network. You need permission to join and participate. Only a select group of pre-approved participants can view the ledger and validate transactions. A single organization or a consortium of companies usually controls it. They set the rules, and they decide who gets in and who stays out. It's a much more controlled and centralized environment compared to a public blockchain. So, why would anyone use a private blockchain? For businesses, it's all about efficiency and privacy. A company might use a private blockchain to track its supply chain. They can share information securely with their partners without making that data public to the entire world. It's faster and more scalable than a public blockchain because fewer people are validating transactions. While it sacrifices some of the decentralization and censorship resistance of a public chain, it offers control and confidentiality that many businesses require for their operations. To add new blocks to a blockchain, the network needs a way to agree on which transactions are valid. This agreement method is called a consensus mechanism. The two most famous ones are proof of work and proof of stake. Let's start with proof of work, which is what Bitcoin uses. Think of it as a very difficult puzzle competition. Computers all over the world, called miners, are racing to solve a complex mathematical problem. This process requires a massive amount of computational power and electricity. The first miner to solve the puzzle gets the right to add the next block of transactions to the blockchain. As a reward for their work, they receive some newly created Bitcoin and the transaction fees from that block. This process is what secures the network. To attack the network, a bad actor would need to control more than 50% of the entire network's computing power, which is incredibly expensive and practically impossible on a large network like Bitcoin. The main downside is the huge energy consumption, which has led to a lot of debate. Now let's talk about the alternative proof of stake. Instead of miners competing with computing power, you have validators. These validators are chosen to create new blocks based on how many coins they hold and are willing to stake as collateral. Think of it like a lottery where the more tickets you own, the more coins you stake, the higher your chance of being chosen to validate the next block. If you are chosen and you validate the block correctly, you get a reward, similar to a proof of work system. The key difference here is energy efficiency. Proof of stake doesn't require massive amounts of electricity because there's no competitive puzzle solving. To secure the network, validators lock up their own crypto. If they try to cheat the system or approve fraudulent transactions, they risk losing their entire staked amount. This financial incentive keeps everyone honest. Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency, famously switched from proof of work to proof of stake to become more sustainable and scalable, showing a major trend in the industry. Finally, let's get to the question everyone asks: what gives a cryptocurrency its value? The answer lies in tokenomics. This is just a combination of the words token and economics. It's the set of rules that govern a specific cryptocurrency's supply, demand, and overall utility. Just like with anything else, the price of a crypto asset is heavily influenced by how much of it is available and how many people want to buy it. It's the classic economic principle of supply and demand. First, let's look at supply. Some cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin have a fixed supply. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin created. This limited supply makes it deflationary, much like gold. As demand increases over time for a limited number of coins, the price should, in theory, go up. Other cryptocurrencies have an inflationary model where new coins are continuously created with no cap. Understanding a token's supply schedule is crucial. Is it fixed? Does it inflate forever? These factors directly impact its long-term value. Next is demand, which is driven by a token's utility or use case. Why would someone want to own this specific coin or token? Does it do something useful? For example, Ethereum's token, Ether, is used to pay for transaction fees and computational services on its network. People need Ether to build and use applications on the Ethereum blockchain, which creates real demand. Other tokens might grant you voting rights in a project or give you access to exclusive services. A token with no real use case is often just speculation. Putting it all together, Tokenomics is the blueprint for a cryptocurrency's economic system. It defines how many tokens will exist, how they are created and distributed, and what they can be used for. A project with strong tokenomics will have a clear and valuable use case, a sensible supply model, and a mechanism to encourage people to buy and hold the token. By understanding these basics, you can start to evaluate a project's potential for long-term success instead of just guessing. It's the fundamental analysis of the crypto world.